Tonight, growing outrage over the arrest and lockup of an American citizen in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The ACLU suing a Louisiana sheriff and several others in that parish on behalf of Ramon Torres, a U.S. citizen originally from Honduras. The lawsuit alleging Torres was jailed on suspicion of a DUI. A federal judge ordered him released the next day, but jail authorities actually refused that order. They suspected he was undocumented, even though he had a valid driver's license on him when he was arrested, and even after a friend quickly sent in copies of his Social Security card and American passport. Torres was locked up for 4 days. The sheriff saying it's their policy to contact ICE whenever they suspect someone is undocumented. Another sheriff's employee allegedly saying they do that for all Latinos who are arrested. If true, then these police are changing how they treat people based on their ethnicity or how they look. And that echoes language we heard last month from the acting director of ICE. Watch.
ICE does not have the lawful authority to say anybody is or is not a citizen. What we do is when we are provided with probative evidence that an individual in our custody looks to be a citizen, we will release that individual from custody.
You advance it when they look to be a citizen. It just strikes me that all of these individuals are Latinos, and that you're talking about how someone looks. So can you talk to me a little bit about this?
I was not referring to anybody's appearance, and that was clear if anybody listened to the context of what I was saying.
All right, with me now is Alana Odoms-Hebert, Executive Director of the ACLU of Louisiana, the group behind this lawsuit. Great to have you with us this evening. Let's start with the lawsuit itself. Why did the ACLU file this lawsuit on behalf of Mr. Torres?
The ACLU of Louisiana filed this lawsuit because we believe it is unconscionable for a person, a U.S. citizen, to be detained and incarcerated based on their looks, based on their race, or based on ethnicity. It is a violation of Mr. Torres's constitutional rights, both his 4th and 14th Amendment constitutional rights, and the ACLU wants to be on the front lines of this battle against President Trump's mass deportation agenda here in Louisiana.
Do you have any evidence, or do you believe that authorities have now at least admitted that ethnicity, or his ethnicity to be specific, was a factor in his detention?
Well, I can tell you this. Mr. Torres had a valid Social Security card. He had a valid Louisiana driver's license, which you cannot obtain unless you provide proof of citizenship. He had a passport, and his family members and coworkers provided additional proof that he was a U.S. citizen. And so once the sheriff's office received that information and decided to continue to hold Mr. Torres, even despite a judge's orders, what else can a reasonable person think other than the sheriff was holding Mr. Torres based upon his ethnicity and suspicion that he was in this country as an undocumented person?
How was Mr. Torres' time in jail? How was he treated while he was there, despite the fact that he tried to prove his citizenship?
Mr. Torres recounts that there were many other individuals who were not represented, who were similarly situated, whose rights were likely being violated as well. And so we know that this is not an isolated case. And we also know that many of the facilities that are being used to house folks in Louisiana are facilities that are essentially were deemed very violent places, very brutal places. And so this is certainly not a place that any citizen would want to end up, and certainly not in the circumstances that we found Mr. Torres in.
So let me juxtapose your answer that you just said there for us with how the Trump administration and border officials within that administration have described immigration detention facilities. Watch this.
So if you think of yourself as a college dormitory, that's what the rooms look like.
They are campus-like settings with appropriate medical, educational, recreational, dining, and private housing facilities.
I think the best way to describe them is to be more like a summer camp.
Your reaction to that?
I'm appalled. And I think every citizen in this country should be appalled. We have more detention facilities opening every day in Louisiana than any other place in the country. And that is because Louisiana is a place where the immigration judges are more stringent than other places in the country. These detention facilities are in remote locations where lawyers cannot access their clients. And we've already seen stories of folks being tear gassed for exercising their First Amendment rights. When they do hunger protests and things of this nature, they've been beaten, they've been tear gassed. It is unconscionable that someone would describe these circumstances as a summer camp. I would not allow my child to be in those facilities. All of us as Americans should be outraged that this is being characterized in this way. It's not only a mischaracterization, it's insulting and it's unconstitutional.
Alana Odoms-Hebert from the ACLU, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.